One. Hey, everybody, it is Kary Oberbrunner. Hope you are doing fantastic. Listen, we are talking all about Instagram, not Instagram today. We're talking about LinkedIn. I was just on Instagram doing a little bit of shout out. But Chris, you are the LinkedIn man. You are the guru. We did this experiment. That's what it was. It was a LinkedIn experiment. I think we did last Wednesday. So we're 5 days in. What do you think of the results before we go crazy? I mean, what do you think about the results real quick?
Oh, it's just amazing. I think we have over 40,000 views to go from an average of 52 views per post to over 40,000. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is. It is. And listen, people are jumping in. We've got April. Listen, guys, go ahead, post where you're from. The reason why we're doing this training is we are going to tell you kind of the LinkedIn conclusion. So Chris, we'll set it up here. We're going to give people 5 tips that we used to go viral in the last 5 days. And I had no idea that we would get there. I mean, who knows how much we'll get when it's all said and done. But here's the quick story. The quick story is that I was on LinkedIn for 10 years. And I know that because some people are like, hey, LinkedIn hasn't even been around. But you told me to go back to my recommendations, the very first one, and it was 2009. So in 2009, I got my very first LinkedIn recommendation. So I've been on there for at least 10 years, maybe more. People told me to go over there because I was a professional, just like most people. How many of you are professionals? We got Salt Lake City, we got John, we got Brenda, we got Sherry, we got Mark Thomas, we got all kinds of people. Listen, folks, do me a favor. Share this post if you can do that. We're going to have a big party. The more people we can get on this, we want to add value. We want people to leverage this platform. We're on Be Live today on Facebook. But here's the quick story, Chris, because I know some people said, was this just some crazy thing you did? You know, I've been paying my team the last year. I've been paying my team to take my content that, gets great engagement on Facebook, great engagement on Instagram, 0 on LinkedIn. So for the person who's like, well, it's your content, Kary, what would you say, first of all? Do you think it's bad content? I'm not asking you this. I'm not setting you up here. Do you think it's bad content, or what do you think?
Yes, it's good content, but not presented in the right way for this particular platform.
Ouch. But it's true. Listen, you got to be real. By the way, Natalie, what's up? I love Quebec. My family and I spent the summer there this summer, some time, Montreal, Quebec. It was amazing. But here's the point. You're right. I needed to say I'm either in or out on LinkedIn. And I'll tell you what, Chris, I was like, dude, I'm out, because why show up somewhere and why keep spending time and money on a platform that you get no return? And so you and I did this little experiment where you told me, hey, listen, man, first of all, I don't know if people know this. We're going to let some inside stuff. You told me to stop posting. How long did I stop posting?
I think it's about a week or so with no posts.
Yep. So I don't know if you guys, but you gotta pay attention to this whole experiment here, okay? First thing I did is I stopped posting. What I had doing was buffer. So buffer was basically posting three posts a day. I use buffer on Twitter because I'm not going to sit on Twitter all day. I'm a creator. I'm an author. I'm a CEO of a publishing company. I got to get things going. I got to get things rolling. I can't be on social media all the time. By the way, Sherry, thank you so much for sharing. Anybody who shares, man, thank you so much. We're going to give you guys some crazy cool tips today. So first of all, I unplugged my buffer, and I then I told our team, do not post anything for an entire week. And we didn't post anything. And I was like, forget it, man. Let's see how this thing works. Then we architect the perfect post, I would say, based upon 40,000 views in 5 days. But let's talk about 5 tips. Everybody can use these 5 tips today. Number 1, what's the first tip?
Yeah, the first thing is just to be real, be yourself, be genuine, but also to be relatable and basically something that's relevant to people right now.
Yeah.
So many times you'll see people post stuff because that's what they want to post, but they have no consideration over who their audience is and what they're going through. So it's just kind of like a push type push of information, which we see across every social media platform, including LinkedIn. So that was the first thing, is to share something that's genuine. The other thing is that when you look at the composition of a post, you'll notice that on LinkedIn, you have maybe just a few lines at the very top of your picture or your video. So you can have the best content. But if you don't have a good opening line, think of it like the title of your book. If you don't have a good title, you can have the best content, but people won't ever get to it. So that was the first part, is to be able to just be relatable. So I think that's where, Kary, you're able to share some of your frustration or some of the things that you were experiencing as far as LinkedIn.
Yeah, man. So first of all, be real, be relatable, be relevant. And I think what I did immediately with that first post is I polarized the audience. I polarized the audience because I think a lot of people could relate, and they were like, yes, I get this. Bye-bye LinkedIn. And a lot of people said, I'm thinking of the same thing. I'm thinking of quitting. In fact, one of our people, Dan Miller, he's a mentor to me. I mean, he's a premier dude. He said he spent $3,500 on LinkedIn professionals, having him teach him how to use LinkedIn, and he didn't see an ROI. And so he even showed up, which I was surprised. And I think his comment got like a few dozen, because I think people understand. And Chris, so I think immediately it polarized people, and it had the LinkedIn fans who are gurus and who are really into LinkedIn. It had them all fired up. And then it had the people who were like me, who were like, you know what, forget it, man. I'm going to throw in the towel, because why keep showing up to a place with zero engagement? So do you think that immediately kind of fired people up? What do you think?
Yeah, and it's something that a lot of people go through. Probably more people go through the lack of engagement than people that actually do enjoy the engagement.
Sure.
And probably it's true in most areas of our life. I think it's probably true here on LinkedIn as well. We follow the 80-20 rules. Probably 80% of people not getting any kind of engagement whatsoever. And that's the same thing that I went through. And I was wondering what was wrong. I was doing all these different motivational posts, and then for a while it was doing okay. But you have to adjust to the algorithm. You have to adjust to what LinkedIn's looking for. So it's just that recognition of knowing what their purpose is. So they want engagement. Basically, if you look at it, it's genius, because we create the content and they get the traffic. So it's really an awesome system for them. You think about it. So if we're not getting people engaged, we're not getting people to write thoughtful comments and posts, then they're not going to show it to anyone. And for those of you out there that have put a post out there, you'll notice that there's not a very quick reaction. So for example, if you post right now, like literally as we speak right now, you're probably not going to get any likes. But over the next 10, 15 minutes, you get one or two. Then I think LinkedIn starts showing it to more people as their interest grows. Ooh. And that's where, even as you see this post, as it started to grow, it just snowballed. It literally had like a snowball effect, because LinkedIn sees that people are engaged. It's resonating with people. People are jumping into the conversation. And because of that, LinkedIn's showing it to more people. So the fact that it went viral really didn't have a ton of what we did. It's more of like just the content was right to where people were engaging with it, and that's where LinkedIn just starts picking it up from there. So it's just setting it up the right way to where you're generating interest generating posts.
Sure. So the first part, guys, I just posted the link on the Facebook page. So on the Kary Oberbrunner author page where you're watching it, go ahead. If you guys see it, I'm hopping over to the Facebook page right now where this whole party is. If you're watching this anywhere else than the Kary Oberbrunner author page, go over there, because we can literally see your comments over there. But to Chris's point, it says in the very first preview of the video, bye-bye LinkedIn, ... I've been on here for over 10, and then that's all that shows. So folks, what Chris is saying is that little preview, if it's irrelevant, if it's not hooky, and I get it. We had some haters on there, and they said clickbait and this type of thing. Clickbait is when you use a headline that doesn't deliver on the content. In other words, you know what I'm saying, Chris? Clickbait is like where you basically lie or you use something sensational, and then the article is off topic. That's called clickbait. You and I both know we architected this post to be completely relevant. Like, I can show you my receipts of what I pay my team to put my content on LinkedIn the last year. I forget, but I think you said I have 3 posts a day. So think about that, folks. That's almost 1,000 posts that I was paying the team to put content, 0 ROI. I think you said 52 views.
Yeah, 52 is the average per post.
Views was the average. So again, as somebody who pays the bills, as somebody who, as a content creator, I'm not going to keep posting stuff on a platform that has, I put the same content on Facebook and Instagram, boom, blows up. And we've had 250,000 views on some of our videos on Facebook. Why would I keep? So it was totally authentic. The LinkedIn thing, let's go to point number 2. First one was be real, be relatable, be relevant. And then the little bonus tip Chris gave, Kary Borja, Borja. And Chris, I'm going to put your LinkedIn, I don't know, in the Facebook. But the little preview you said was use a headline that has the best content up front. And that's true about newspaper writing. I've met a lot of reporters over the years. They say that they literally structure the headline in the newspaper article to be this best benefit first, and then the content kind of moves down. Okay, let's go to number 2.
Yeah, so number 2 is when you need to ask for help, which is what happened is you ask for help. Say, I'm not getting the results that I want, and then you seek help. And you can see the difference that it makes when you're working with somebody that has an awareness of what's really happening. And it's too much. Sometimes there's just too many things that you need to know about. So for example, like we all, we drive a car, but we don't need to know how everything works. So you have to get help sometimes if your car is not running to its optimal performance. You don't know what's wrong with it, but you need to get help, and just find somebody that can help you with that. So, get help with your profiles if you need it. The reason why is because it's costing you time and it's costing money. If you think about it, every person that looks at your profile, how do you know that's not the breakthrough that you were looking for? That person that looked at your profile and it just looked terrible, to be honest with you. And the reason I say terrible is I'm not trying to insult anybody, but because most times when I go to different networking events and I ask people if they're on LinkedIn, they kind of start squirming and getting real uncomfortable, and then they usually say something like, oh yeah, I got to update that thing. Yeah, I haven't been on there in years, and they start making all these excuses. Well, you can't make excuses like that when you're talking about business. You have to be ready, as you teach, is you got to be ready for the moment, and so that's part of it. Is you have to have that all up front. So the second thing is to be able to get help.
Yeah. Renee just posted the definition of clickbait per Webster's dictionary. Thanks for doing that. It says content whose main purpose is to attract attention and encourage visitors to click on a particular link or to a particular web page. So in other words, the goal is not the content. The goal is not to serve. The goal is not to add value. The goal is to gain traffic. And so, Chris, in fact, I talked with you and Renee several times before we did this little experiment. And I said, you know what, guys, here's my heart. Here's my dilemma. Here's my problem. Here's the situation. And I mean, we talked about that. You and I talked several times. You, Renee, and I talked at least once. But we knew that, like, look, let's put a detailed content piece out there that captures the dilemma. And I knew, Chris, by saying this, I might lose some people. Because listen, there's this thing out there with thought leaders that you got to be like, the guru, you got to be amazing on every platform. And I knew that for me to go public and be like, you know what, I don't get LinkedIn, I might throw LinkedIn to the curb. And I said, you know what, and we'll talk about the post later on here in a moment. But you and Renee offered great content to me, great coaching. And basically I said, look, help me out, guys. Thankfully you did that. But I think personally online, Chris, that a lot of people are wired to help. You see what I'm saying? You can be all skeptical as you want, but when I genuinely put out a white flag and said, look, I need some help with LinkedIn. What do you get for value? And what are best practices? All kinds of people rushed forward to literally help. And to me, that showed me, you know what, people on this platform are pretty cool. Like they're genuinely givers. Now, sure, people messaged me and wanted to sell me stuff and all that. And who knows, maybe their stuff's good. But that wasn't the goal. My goal wasn't to be like, hey, I want a LinkedIn guru to help me. My goal was to say, hey, does this platform, is it worth it? Quite frankly, because we all have limited time. Entrepreneurs, man, listen, entrepreneurs, your time is money. And so I don't want to be spending time or paying my team to spend time on a platform that doesn't serve people. So Leslie, thanks for your vote of confidence. I really appreciate you. Renee, thank you as well. But let's talk. Okay, so we got be real, be relevant, be relatable. Number 2, ask for help. What was number 3?
3 is the right way to get attention to your post, which is through proper tagging. And there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. And we've all been trapped in that that group text message. We've all been trapped in that, that 99 people got tagged on Facebook or on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we don't even know who the person is. So that's definitely, we don't even need to say that. That's the wrong way to tag people. The right way to tag people is when it's authentic, when it's really honoring to the person being tagged. So I get tagged on things all the time. And, most of the time, there's a few times people just tag just to get the extra visibility. But most of the time, it's going to be something that's complimentary. I'm like, wow, that's really honoring that they included me with this conversation and invited me to join or to get my thoughts on it or to gather my expertise on this particular subject. So that's the right way to do it. So if you go back and you break down the posts that you have 40,000 views on right now, if you look at it, there's a lot of people that are mentioned throughout, not just in the post itself. I think in the post is just myself and Renee, so there wasn't really a lot of people necessarily tagged in there. It was the 2 of us. We happen to have extensive reach on LinkedIn, which means that when we comment or like, it instantly shows to all of our, not all of them, but a good chunk of our people that we commented on this post, which gathers more people into seeing your post. So that's one of the things. And then so in all the comments, you also notice that when you tag people in the comments, it's truly, sincerely inviting their input and their feedback because there's somebody that's valued. And as you invite other people, who should I be connected with? Who's a good person that would be a good mentor on LinkedIn or a good person to model after? So guess what? If those people get tagged, I would be honored if somebody asked that question, hey, who's a good person to be connected on LinkedIn? And they say, oh, you should connect with Chris Borja. He's a good person to follow. Mm-hmm. See, that would be honoring to me. So that's the right way to do it, as opposed to the wrong way where you're just tagging people to try to basically steal their platform.
And see, this was the biggest shift for me. Because, Chris, one of the things that I really try to do, when I first started out as an author in 2003, was writing my first book, I'm just going to be real with people because, listen, I think it's the only way to roll, right? I think when I first started out in 2003, 2004, 2005, I mean, some of this stuff wasn't even in existence. And I think I tried to build my platform the wrong way. Just being real, being real. I'd basically say, how can others help me? And so that I had to like wake up one day and grow up. Because listen, there's some people out here watching this. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. You're doing it wrong. You're absolutely doing it wrong. If you think that building a platform online is about how others can listen to you, how others can buy from you, you're wrong. And you're going to be alone. I'm just being quite honest. So what was inside of me, Chris, was this massive just reaction to that. And so I think that's why I struggled on LinkedIn, because my thing is like, I didn't want to tag anybody because I'm used to, people on Facebook oftentimes tagging, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get eyeballs on their posts. It doesn't add value to you. It's essentially trying to take from you. And that doesn't work on Facebook. The influencers will block you and the influencers will ban you. So on Facebook, you're not supposed to tag, but on LinkedIn, you are supposed to tag, but only in the right way. And the right way is to edify, to honor, and to compliment. Would you agree? Am I saying that wrong?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And in fact, several months ago, when LinkedIn started pushing for people to do that. So it sounds crazy, but LinkedIn actually started pushing for people to do that, where it actually would give you an option to try to invite people to conversation by using the @ sign, and actually gave instructional on how to invite people into that conversation. Now they don't do that anymore, but a lot of times they'll reward behavior they want people to do in the beginning, and then they kind of drop that feature out. But it actually was trying to get people to use the @ sign in front of their names to invite people into that conversation.
Interesting. So, folks, number 3 is tag wisely. Tag wisely. Don't go over the top. And when you do tag someone, honor them, edify them, compliment them, and invite them into the conversation. If you just tag them so that they see your stuff, it's actually these are just etiquette things that a lot of people don't know. What do you guys think about that? I'd love to hear your comments, because to me that was like, boom, mind blown. Because that's why I think I wasn't having success on LinkedIn, is because like I didn't invite anyone to anything. So I think now when I see all these posts happen, Chris, on LinkedIn, when I see other people, all it is billboards. Hey, buy this. Hey, I'm talking here. Hey, I'm doing this. And that's why nobody's getting any engagement, because it's like they're announcing and shouting what their newest thing is. Do you agree?
Yep, absolutely.
So you will fail on LinkedIn. If you view LinkedIn as a place where you announce your content or announce your programs or your products, you will lose. That's pretty strong. What do you guys think about
that? So right now you'll notice that if you go on there, go ahead and experiment with it just so you see it firsthand. But go ahead and put a post, put different types of posts, put something that's just a picture with minimal writing, or maybe even no writing, just a motivational quote. Put one out there that's a little bit closer to long form content. So anything that you might think of putting in a blog, you could put up to 1,300 characters on the LinkedIn post. So it's almost like a shorter or mid-sized blog. So you could use that, and don't use the article portion of LinkedIn. They don't really show that to anybody. Put it as a post. But the other thing is, you don't need a ton of posts nowadays. I'm even changing the way I do it. I used to make sure I was on there at least once, twice, 3 times a day, but I'm seeing it change to where it's not rewarding that. So again, thinking from the platform side of it, the way they look at it. They have 550 million users on there. They don't really need a lot of people just putting random stuff on there. What they do want is people that are starting real conversations, and that's what they're rewarding. So the short stuff, or the stuff there's no comments, that's just disappearing, and is gone. So so if you want engagement, one of the best ways is for you to actually not just keep putting a bunch of posts, but to engage on other people's posts, build a relationship, see who's commenting, also start the conversation through public posts, and then take that into a private message. And then from there, you can maybe go to a phone or a video chat and have a real life relationship, friendship that's built with people all over the world, that can start with just you commenting on their post and congratulating them, or just saying, hey, that's a great point, or that's really interesting, or whatever it is. Just join the conversation.
So folks, think of it like this. Facebook starts like this with engagement, and over a few days, it starts dying like this. LinkedIn starts like this, and then it kind of peaks up like this, and then starts going down. That's something that's different too. Again, every platform is different. If you were to put in a long article on Instagram, nobody would even care. See, every platform is different. And here's the thing. You might say, forget it. Why be on any platform? And I get it. Some people would say, why be on any platform? I know certain people who are successful who aren't on any platform. But listen, even the Pope has Twitter. All right. So if the Pope has Twitter, and I'm sure he's not tweeting, but there's something to be said about even just being there with an optimized profile, but not posting things. I think that's just, listen, I'm not sold on LinkedIn yet, truly, because fine, we had one post that went viral. It's at 40,000. It's still cooking. And by the way, if you guys want to see how Chris helped me architect that, how Renee helped me do that as well, go ahead and click on the link right here. I'll put it down there in the Facebook comments. You can see it. I encourage you to go there and practice what Chris is teaching. Make a meaningful comment, and then see how many other people respond and react. But I think at the minimum, you need an optimized profile page. And we have another training on that we can't get into today, but it's headshot, it's cover photo, it's headline, it's experience that is linked to the company page. We talked about that the other day. But Chris, let's go into number 4.
Yeah, so as you get down to the bottom of the post, now it's time to invite people intentionally. So you need to have a clear call to action. You have to have a question or a way for them to answer that question, so it's easy for them to know how to participate in the conversation. So most of the time, if you just go across your newsfeed, you're going to see most posts do not give people an opportunity to join the conversation, and they wonder why they're not getting any engagement. It's because they didn't create it within their post. They just put facts out there and never asked a question, even as simple as, here's something that happened in the news. What are your thoughts? So just asking that, what are your thoughts, now invites conversation, rather than just saying, hey, here's what happened in the news. So you can see the difference between those two is just by asking a clear call to action doesn't necessarily mean go to my website. That's probably not the place for it, but you want to invite people's thoughts and input, because that's where you're going to start the conversation and start building that relationship. So have a clear call to action. If you go to this particular post, you'll see there are 4 questions that kind of flow into the next. So it's not just one question, actually 4 questions that are kind of sequential. So take a look at the post and then see how that's built, and then look at the answers not the answers, but look at the comments, and you can see how people are responding to that call to action.
Interesting. So I'm putting the link one more time, folks. Go ahead, check it out, comment on it, see what Chris is talking about. Here's the other thing, Chris. I talked to my business partner, David, about all of this. And again, David's funny because we're wired differently. But at the end of the day, he said, so what? So who cares? He didn't say it like that, but the point is this, and I actually agree with him. Who cares? Who cares that 40,000 people saw an organic post? Who knows what it will be eventually? At the end of the day, is it helping us ignite more souls? Because that is the number one mission that we have, igniting souls. And if we can't chalk it up as that, then honestly, who cares? I think it's, vanity metrics. Who cares about vanity metrics? So here's what I'm measuring it as. All kinds of people have said, hey, I got a book that came out. I need help with the marketing. Or, hey, I got a book that I think I want to write. So here's the beauty of having funnels, Chris. Okay, and I'm going to drop some in there so you guys can actually see what we do then. Because it's not, and listen, I probably got 10 people wanting to do phone calls with me and video chats. And you know what? Forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is the way I roll. Okay, I already have clients I'm serving. So I don't shut down the whole business to be like, oh, you're a complete stranger. Let's set up a Zoom chat. There's one person that I set up a Zoom chat with, and it's because she knows you. And let me look. I'll look at my calendar and tell you what her name is. Hang on one second. All right, my calendar says her name is Deborah. It's Deborah, whoever Deborah is. You know her, she knows you. You helped her, she helped you. So that's the one person that I decided to do a Zoom chat with, because, it sounds like she really is respected by you, and she respects you. And so I'm doing that just to connect with her. But all the other people, what I did, Chris, is I said, I'd love to help you. Please check out this brief training, and then let's chat. And Chris, that's the action step. And I'll tell you why that's the action step. Because if I hop on the phone, that's what I'm going to be saying for 30 minutes anyway. You know what I'm saying? So again, folks, I'm trying to be sensitive to you that if you're an entrepreneur who's got a business that's humming, you can't pick up the phone every single day and start chatting with people, and doing the old, pick your brain or this type of thing. So what I'm doing, Chris, is I'm actually putting people as the first step into a value add training. And then if it resonates with them, then we take the next step. And honestly, what the next step would be, hey, here's an application. And then the next step would be, hey, here's one of our author consultants to chat with. But again, I'm not saying I don't want to meet people and all that, but I am saying, you know what? You can't reject your current clients because some post goes viral. What do you think, man? Am I out to lunch? What do you think?
No, you're right, and that's something that has to be adjusted to everyone's individual business. So as you talk, the busier the the more successful you become, the less accessible you are, and you have to start figuring out ways to scale it. So in the very beginning, I had no followers. I was just happy somebody liked my post. I would call them up and just say, thanks for liking my post. There's literally no one there. I didn't have any business going on. I didn't have any contacts. I didn't have anyone in my network. And of course, as I've grown the network, then I've done the same things where I have to scale it, where I have automated calendar, where I have things. But just to be able to continue building the relationship through the online chat and platform, and then take it through whatever your process is. So if that's it, to be able, which it makes sense for you to be able to have that to screen them, you're providing that value, providing a video where you can serve more people, and then you're working with the people that, which is what the goal is to be able to serve more people. If they're not your customer, they're not your client, you can't really help them anyway. So that's the right way to go about it. But it's up to everyone's individual business and the place they're at in their growth to how they engage with people. So like when I started, like I said, anyone that would talk to me, I was happy, because before people wouldn't even answer my phone call. So somebody would take my call, I was already happy with that. But it's a progression, and then eventually you're going to just send people to a video, a website. But even then, there's still ways to engage with people and to let them know that they're important. So what I would do is, for example, I'd just say, hey, I'd love to get to know you, but my time is limited, as I'm sure yours is as well. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about yourself on this? On this chat, and I'd love to learn more about you. So now they're sharing all their backstory, which is what's going to take up most of the time anyway, is them talking for 20 minutes about their whole story. What if they can share it on there, and then you can read it and kind of see how you might be able to serve them. And if it makes sense, then give them the link to your calendar, schedule a 15, 20, 30-minute phone call, and then it's more of a discovery or a coaching call where you can start serving them up front. And then that's how, most of my clients are obtained, is just from serving people on the front end. And they're like, how do I hire you for that? Because I want to go further. I want to go deeper. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows to adapt the engagement to their particular business, because everyone's in a different season, different place. So just adapt accordingly. Yeah,
listen. I think when I was just starting out, I would have absolutely, jumped on most calls. I think there needs to be a filter, though, even if it's a small filter. Because listen, if you hop on and you spend 25 minutes talking to that person, and then they really say why they called, and that's because they want to sell you supplements or something. Listen, you can only do that about 2 times as an entrepreneur, and then you start realizing, like, okay, let's decide what we're going to talk about. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with saying, what is the topic of our conversation going to be? Because I think that we call these qualifiers or filters. And again, if you just want to make friends, great. But I think at the end of the day, LinkedIn is for business, and it's a professional network. And I think even on our thread, there was a little bit of controversy there. I'm not going to say names, but if you look at those comments, one person who's very cool said, I'm just here to add value. And another woman jumped on who was very cool, and she said, come on, let's be real. We're here, yes, to add value, but we're also here because of business. And I think actually it's both. I think you want to add value, but I do think that at the end of your day, unless you're independently wealthy and you're in need of major phone calls every day, it has to lead to some point. What do you think, Chris?
Absolutely. 100% agree.
All right. Well, listen, if you guys want to see what I send these people, again, I wasn't just like, here, watch this. I said, how can I help you? What are your needs? If they did say their book, I said, fantastic. What is your book about? When did it come out? So it's not just a jerk. These are qualifying questions. And based upon their answers, I'm able to say, oh, that person's book came out 6 months ago. They're excited, but they need help with marketing. So then what we would do is we'd say, hey, check out this free masterclass. It's all about marketing. It comes with a free guidebook. You're going to get a ton of value. And then if you want to chat further, let's do it. So it's kind of like this step, Chris, that it qualifies them. Let's talk about that fifth thing. 5 tips here today.
Yeah, so the 5th thing is to continue to serve. So that's even beyond your post, which is kind of, we're already talking about it now, is finding ways to serve even beyond your original post. So that's just that's just the beginning. That's just to start the conversation. That's just the catalyst. That's just the spark. But now you got to keep the engine rolling, and then that's where you build the relationships. That's where you gain the trust. That's where you gain the credibility. And eventually, the goal is to have other people speaking of you and recommending you more than you have to do for yourself. And that takes time to be able to do it. It doesn't mean it takes years, but you can start with each individual person and winning one fan over at a time. And that's the value. You could see like the difference between this post with the engagement. If you think about it, people spent time to be able to put those posts.
Yeah.
They invested time and thought into putting those posts. They probably spent 30 minutes. I don't know how long they spent, but they were very thoughtful, before they even answered. So that's something that I think is important to just continue serving and building the relationship, and not just say, okay, great, I got a like, I got a comment, and that's the end of it. Look at each individual person and see how you might be able to be a compliment on both directions. So even if they might not be a client of yours right now, but you don't know who they're connected with. And if they like you, you don't know what kind of doors those will open. And so that's one thing I always encourage people from a networking standpoint is don't look for just clients, because I look at it as kind of like a realtor that's just looking for somebody that is in the process of selling their house, hasn't engaged with somebody, hasn't signed a contract to hire a realtor yet. That's a very slim target market. Somebody who's ready to sell their house, haven't contracted with anybody yet. But if it's a realtor that's just building relationship and friendship and through serving others, and it might just be from liking, commenting, recommending, referring, then what happens is that now when they run across any of their friends that happen to need a house, they become the go-to. They're the person that's top of mind. They're the first person they would ever think of because of that. And that's what can happen on LinkedIn, is because we can only be in front of people so much physically in person. But online, we literally can be in front of thousands of people, in this case, 40,000 people, in a matter of just days. So where can you do that? So even though it does take time, I think it does create leverage to where it actually gives us more time if we're doing it the right way, and we're not just watching, cat videos and, race car videos or whatever it happens to be. But you can see how it might be a time investment, but look at the access and the reach. I mean, how long would it take to reach 40,000 people on the phone or sending them a letter or something like that? So there is some.
Hey guys, I'm not sure what happened, but Chris went away, but maybe he'll jump back in somehow. So if you guys can still hear me and see me, go ahead, type in so I can at least see your comment. That would be fantastic. I will tell you the second step, April. The second step was, let me bring that right up here, my friend. Hang with me. The second step was ask for help. Ask for help if you need it. So again, jump in. If you guys can see me and hear me, yes, I think John just said he can. Fantastic. All right. So listen, we'll see if Chris jumps back in. No problem. But it was an absolute blast to be with you guys today. Let me just wrap this up by saying a few things. Number one, I have not posted a new post in the last 5 days, nor do I plan to. Let me say that again. That probably sounds crazy. I have not posted another post, nor do I plan to, maybe for a long time. Why? Now, this might sound crazy to some people. I'll tell you why. It's because what's the whole purpose of posting in the first place? It's to create value. It's to have a conversation, and it's to add engagement. Hey, Chris, what's up, my friend? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost connection.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem. Listen, I was just wrapping it up by saying this, and then we'll do just a few minutes of Q&A. How many posts have I done, Chris, since we did this one on Wednesday?
One.
So like 0 more posts, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, just that one. So no posts since then.
This is it, man. So we talked about that. We talked about that the goal is not to post for a long time. Maybe, I'm not saying ever, but I'm saying for a very long time. because the whole reason of posting content is for conversation, engagement, and adding value. And as long as that thing is continuing to get engagement and views and conversation, that's the whole goal anyway. Why create a new party? Would you agree? I think you might be slower Wi-Fi, or maybe it's our end, but Chris, no worries. We can hear you, I think, my friend. Try to talk once. Oh, might have lost you. No problem. But listen, folks, we'll bring Chris back on here in a moment. Why don't you ask any questions? Ask any questions that you have. Otherwise, again, those 5 tips were fantastic that April wrote down. Thank you so much. Number 1, be real. Be relatable, be relevant. Number 2, ask for help if you need it. Number 3, tag with intention. Tag with intention. Number 4, call to action. Make sure they're clear, concise, and direct. Don't overload it with 25 call to actions. And number 5, continue to be a giver. Continue to be a giver. Because listen, I just went to LinkedIn while we were here. Guess what? Somebody named Lisa, I won't say her last name. Here's exactly what she said in the message. Just discovered you and have started looking at your work, signed up for the author 5-day challenge. Listen, that's awesome. I don't know who Lisa is, but listen, Lisa may now be able to one day become an author. Maybe she'll go in the 5-day challenge and get edified. That's the whole goal of being on LinkedIn. It's not to look cool. It's not to, get views. It's to serve other people. So I'm going to bring Chris on back one more time. If you guys have any other questions, and when will you be doing the teaching on profile help? So I'll tell you what, Chris, you did do a teaching on that. And that teaching was the other day inside the Igniting Souls tribe. We recorded it, John. So if you're one of our clients in the Igniting Souls tribe, you can grab that teaching. He did it. It was fantastic. I learned a ton. Let me
go. It's like really chop.
Oh, Chris, I'll tell you what, my friend, we'll bring you on sometime in the future. This will not be the last time that we chat with you. Something else I want to say is that Chris does have a course. So Chris has a course, and listen, it's awesome. I have it myself. It's helped me, but I'm putting it right there in the comments. It's called Become a Better Networker.teachable.com. It's $197. It pays for itself with the listen. All it requires is you to have one meaningful engagement and one client, and it already pays for itself. Okay. Do you recommend a video with each post? Yeah, John, I know you're a client, my friend. Of course I know you. So I'm announcing that for other people. If they're not a client, it's in the Igniting Souls tribe. That was a free training we did just for our clients about how to optimize your profile. It is one of the things Chris does teach in his course. It's right there. Become a Better Networker.teachable.com. Check it out. You can even watch a free few sessions from it. So go check out that page. The other thing that you want to do is I would highly encourage you right now, because the traffic is very high on this post. Even if you go over in comments on the post and basically say, just who you are and just add value to the conversation, you'll already be involved in a big party, and it'll be great for you. So that's pretty much all I have, folks. Have a wonderful day. And to answer Brenda's question about video, yes. Brenda, I'm not saying you need video with every post, but I am saying that video is, according to all the studies, it's about 3 times more engagement on videos. Not all the time, but most of the time videos create 3 times more engagement because we're visual people. And so I would encourage you to do that. I know for a fact that we would not have gotten as much engagement had we not had video with this. And that was a good tip that Renee mentioned. But video and written post, to me, that's the best combo. Thanks again, folks. If you know somebody who needs this free training today, tag them, share this thing. because we want to create a conversation on Facebook about LinkedIn as well. I think it'll create some controversy a little bit. Take care, my friends. I believe in you. Also, last thing I'll say, do not forget, if the whole thing about online business, listen, if you have LinkedIn but you don't have an email address, you're going to be email list, you're going to be missing out. So one of the things we're doing later on Wednesday is email list building. It's free, folks. A lot of the stuff we've been giving away is free training. Okay. Why? Because we believe you have a message. We believe you need to get it out. We believe you need help. So on Wednesday, I'm doing a very special, I've only done this once before, ever. And the last time was in 2017. 2017, I hopped on with Isa, my friend, and she basically did a fantastic training all about email. This is for entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, you name it. You gotta jump in, you gotta sign up. In fact, everybody who does, it'll be live. Second of all, everybody who registers gets a $200 gift value Isa has created for you, and you're just gonna learn a ton. Now at the very end, if you like ConvertKit, sure, sign up. But listen, that's the gravy on top. The full content is going to be training all around email marketing. I'm not a big fan of email marketing, but I do know that without email, I wouldn't have my business. And so no email equals no online business, truly. So go ahead, sign up. If you've signed up, type in signed up below, and we'll make sure that we get you in. There are limited seats. If you know somebody who needs that training, if you're in a group of entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, speakers, as long as the rules allow, share that link with them, because again, we're going to have a great party on Wednesday. Even if you can't make it live, we will record it and send the recording only to those who register. Take care, everybody. I believe in you. We'll see you.